Hello, everybody, and welcome to the internet. We're here to talk about internet things that matter so much.
Very.
Like
particularly a matchup between two characters that are absolutely worth your time. Hi, I'm Ben, joined by our Death Metal Cast crew, just phenomenal. Billy, Chad, and Sam. We got the boys here.
We got the boys here.
It's the boys.
I love your sell at the beginning too. Hey, this is worth your time. All right.
yeah. I mean, you know, if you've seen an episode of Death Metal Cast before, you know, we just basically bullshit for an hour. So
with you.
Yeah, exactly. With you. So if you are watching this live, we're seeing you in the chat right now. Excited to be back because I was sick last week, but this is going to be fun because we are doing a matchup between two Star Wars characters who I think we all really enjoy to some extent, right? Like everybody likes Boba Fett.
I mean, he looks cool. I think that's something that everyone can agree on, no matter what, right?
Yeah. It's still mind-blowing to me how popular that character got with the little amount of screen time he had.
Because he looks fucking dope.
Yeah.
I mean, with his helmet off, I think the armor clearly was not meant for that, but or designed for that. But today
it makes a squeaking noise every time he takes it off, Ben. Clearly, it's intentional. I don't know what it's doing, but
today we are arguing who is going to win between Boba Fett, the original / not actually Mandalorian, and the Mandalorian, aka Din Djarin. I'm not sure if I like that name or not, but that's his name.
Yes, it is.
His name is Din Djarin.
Maybe it's like Grogu. You hated it first, and then you just kind of accept it.
I mean, it's semi, you know, catchy, I guess. Din Djarin. Like, I remember what it is, and I barely paid attention to that name.
It sounds like a Star Wars swear word. Like
Din Djarin.
Din Djarin. You know, like,
it kind of does. Back the poodoo Din Djarin. Wow, there's some really stupid words in Star Wars.
Din Djarin no waka. Like, you know, so like
it does sound like something Watto would say.
Yeah, like.
Oh yeah, Watto totally named this guy.
Yeah, for sure.
What's Watto up to these days in the Star Wars universe?
Oh, dude, he hasn't like popped up somewhere, right? Especially, it makes sense. Like they went to Tatooine, and like he was like, really, we're not even gonna get a little guy in the background, a little blue flutter boy. Like, also, he's an imp, right? Like, why did they just throw in a mystical creature? I don't know.
Little flutter boy.
I mean, that's Star Wars, right? It's a fantasy set in space, so they do crazy crap like that.
If there's one character that I'd be like, that character's on like the hardest of space drugs, it's Watto. Like, I'm telling you, that guy. You're wondering where he is? He's in an alley somewhere with a needle in his arm.
I mean, he's doing really well in episode 1, and then we see him again in what, 3, and he's not doing too well. So I think your theory pans out, Chad.
Yeah.
Oh, right. He's like on like a corner street shop vendor or something now.
Yeah, that dude's huffing pod racer fuel, man. I'm telling you.
He's probably dead. All right, so we are doing Boba Fett versus Mando. Now, obviously, Book of Boba Fett is currently ongoing as we are recording this, and we do record the show live on Wednesday at noon, which means a Book of Boba Fett episode just aired today. So to avoid spoilers, we aren't going to be talking about that episode. Even though it might help one of our characters out quite a bit. We're not going to talk about it. So just to avoid spoilers. So don't worry about it. If you have not seen Book of Boba Fett episodes 1 through 4, however, we will be talking about that. So just for a warning.
I haven't seen it either, so I'm with you. It's going to get spoiled for me. It's all good.
Now,
I hear it's not
to
that
be
great
fair, anyway. I'm not entirely sure how much will be worth talking about that will necessarily spoil the story of Book of Boba Fett, so it might not be all that bad, but we'll see how it goes. Just a heads up. And of course, you might be watching this later on YouTube or on Rooster Teeth, or as the audio, listening to the audio version, which comes out much later. So in the week, Thursdays and Fridays. So by that point, you probably have already seen all of it, right? You could binge that in like a day. Sure, whatever. Anyway, so here's how this is going to work. Billy is going to be arguing for Boba Fett.
Oh, God.
Right?
Yes.
You're taking on Boba Fett, right?
Yeah, that's me.
Good, because I prepared for Mando. I will be repping our good old Mandalorian, Din Djarin. And it's our job to convince the jury to vote for our respective character by any means necessary. And that includes you watching this live. But this isn't a courtroom. We're all part of the conversation, so feel free to chime in the chat. Of course, Chad and Sam can chime in at any point, and we'll see how this goes. But I definitely want to know what you guys think.
So, I don't know. Billy, do you know how big of a Star Wars nerd the Ben is?
No, I don't. But
okay.
I'm a fairly
No.
sizable
I'm gonna give you a heads up because Ben is a Titanic Star Wars nerd, and so I had a moment where I went, why didn't Ben do Boba Fett? Because I know he knows everything of like expanded universe and the comics and the lore and all that crap. And then I went, oh, he went with the Mando because he can argue against Boba Fett. It's super hard.
Well, I let Billy choose. Also,
okay.
I'm honestly not as like up to date on current Star Wars as I used to be as a kid reading like Legends material. So I do know a decent amount of Boba Fett's story before that. And we'll see how that plays into this. But
I mean, it reads like a 13-year-old's sketchbook. He was so badass, and then he was cool, and then
Boba Fett has some odd moments in Legends. I don't know, because they definitely had that sort of approach to him where they were like, we need to make sure this guy's badass, but we don't want him to be a villain, so we're gonna make him Christian.
Wait, what?
There's a scene sort of implying that.
Yep.
There's some weird stuff with Boba Fett in the Legends material.
Computer
and it all
in the
like
chat right
contradicts
now.
each other.
Dropping some Star Wars knowledge.
But every so often in Legends, he's like an absolute badass. One of my favorite stories from that is like him training Jaina Solo to kill Dark Jedi. Really, really fascinating kind of story. But then there's also some really dumb shit, like he could barely catch a bunch of kids, including Jaina when she's a child. But anyway, so let's go ahead and jump into this with opening statements. I can go ahead and go first with Mando, Billy, if you want.
Yeah, feel free.
All right, let's do this. Mandalorian is honestly just, he's going to take this no problem. I know Boba Fett is like the most feared bounty hunter in the galaxy or whatever, but have you watched Book of Boba Fett? I think people are confusing him for his dad. Boba Fett can't do jack shit without help. If Fennec wasn't there, he'd be dead. Mando has everything he needs to take down Boba Fett. He's got so many weapons up his vembraces and armor, including some weapons that Boba Fett just has never had, as far as I'm aware. And he has pretty much every weapon that Boba Fett has had. So he can top anything that Fett has done. And he's also, while Boba Fett, I'm sure, has fought all sorts of different opponents, Mando has spent his entire life training with actual Mandalorians. He knows how to get around Beskar armor. He knows how to fight people like Boba Fett. He's been doing it his whole life, and he's ready to take down the Fett by any means necessary because he's a ruthless badass when he needs to be. Unless there's a baby, like a cute little green child, hanging around. But I don't think Boba Fett's going to pull one of those out of his pocket.
You never know.
Wow. Yeah. Clarify something for me because I totally forgot the last time I saw it written, and I'm getting the BV thing happening. Is it Beskar or Veskar?
Beskar.
Beskar. Okay, that's what I thought.
Beskar.
See, I'm like, I promise you, there are other people. They're doing the same thing.
Yeah. Well, Beskar's a more recent sort of addition to the story. Anyway, it used to be good old Durasteel, or Plasteel, or whatever the hell it was.
The metal that looks like plastic, because that's all we have on set to clad our characters.
Right,
but it's somehow stronger and more durable than titanium, right? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Plasteel is an alloy of plastic and metal, sure, and somehow is the most durable thing in the world, in the universe, except for the durable steel called Durasteel. Gee, I wonder how they got that name. Billy, what's Boba Fett bringing to the fight? Let's go.
Yeah, let's do this. Get me on the counter there. Boba Fett, the Mando, the Kando, the meta basis of all things Mandalorian, including Din's blaster rifle. Oh yeah, he wore it first, and he did so while riding a dinosaur. He's a legend. Let's stick to canon, Fred. Like his father, Jango Fett, of whom he is an unaltered genetic duplicate, he is considered the greatest bounty hunter of all time. He has Din outclassed on experience and connections, having been an active mercenary since his days as a boy during the Clone Wars. As Daimyo of Tatooine, his expanding power base, including allies like Fennec Shand and Din Djarin. His equipment matches or outclasses Din beat for beat. Mandalorian Beskar armor, his fire spray starship, knee rockets, his backpack got jets. But in the end, Boba's most potent trait is a dogged perseverance, even in the face of failure. You may never see the big setback coming. Hell, it may not even see you, but your life rockets out of control, maybe even scream a little bit. You descend so deep in despair you worry you'll never emerge, not in 1,000 years. But in the end, you brush off the slime, you fight, and you survive. That's Boba Fett. He don't fall for nothing. He comes back stronger each and every time, and he makes some friends along the way.
With 3 seconds to spare.
Make some friends along the way. All right. Okay. So.
Can you guess why we cast Billy as ringmaster, y'all?
Yeah.
Because he don't shut up.
We talk about just like Star Wars in general has so many dumb things. Him getting out of the Sarlacc pit, the Sarlacc pit in general. Every time I get think we have a Star Wars thing, I'm like, man, I love Star Wars. It's so cool. And then I remember like General Akbar, like that whole race is called Mon Calamari. Like, fucking
okay,
dumb, dude. That drug dealer that sells death sticks.
Death sticks.
Like, yeah.
You want to buy some death sticks?
So much.
The thing with Star Wars is there is a fine line that Star Wars has to like tread before it crosses over into just stupidity, and it's very easy to cross that line. And that's something that the original film mastered, because I don't think any of us were alive in the 70s, right? But the idea was of Star Wars, or why it was being made, was because for a lot of different reasons. But one of them was sci-fi adventure films back then, space opera films, were cheesy as fuck, right? Like they really went into the whole like making
robots
it bizarre
and everything had to look nothing like something on Earth. Like,
right. And to be fair, Star Wars does start with 2 robots for the majority of the first act as the main characters, but it focuses more on the hero's journey and the stand like a classical adventure story, which is not something that was typical for it's almost more of a Western than a sci-fi. And that threw everybody off back then because it wasn't what they were expecting. And so Star Wars has always been trying to like maintain that line of like, how nerdy does this shit have to actually be? How like silly does this have to be? And I feel like it's easier for them to lean into the silliness and still get away with it than the serious stuff more often than not. But yeah, it can get a little ridiculous. But I think the Sarlacc scene actually, or how Boba Fett gets out of the Sarlacc, worked okay.
Yeah.
It was a little simple for my taste. He just punched his way out.
Right, I was surprised it was as brief as it was. I know they probably just wanted to get on with things, but if you're maybe a little bit more, but I guess there's not really that much to do.
To be fair, they sort of helped the scene by setting up Beskar in the Mandalorian, going like, oh, his armor's made of Beskar, so the Sarlacc wouldn't be able to dissolve it. So that's why he survives, I guess. I don't know. Boba Fett show does a terrible job of explaining what it's trying to do, in my opinion. I still have no idea. Boba Fett is a leader of a crime family, and yet I have yet to see him do any crime or have any family. So
I don't get the impression he's trying to be a crime lord. I think he's trying to use the infrastructure to do something different. They're kind of setting him up like they don't want to make him Mandalore like they did in the Legends, but they want to give him some kind of like infrastructure that's similar to that. I think that's what they're doing there, is my guess. But we're in episode 5 of the first season, so it's the hell out of me.
Yeah, well, let's talk about what Boba Fett is actually going to be able to do to Mando, because I don't think he's going to be able to do too much. Mando's got a bunch of weapons that Fett. You mentioned that Fett's weaponry outclasses Mando. I don't. How exactly does that work?
I'm here as a hype man, Ben, but from what I remember of Din's weapons, they're about the same all the way across. I think they both got the wrist grappling hook / binding tool. They both got flamethrowers. They both got rockets. I think Din's got the whistling birds, whereas Boba seems to have like a big ass rocket. Like
he's got the backpack rocket.
Right. He's got the big anti-tech.
Well, they both have it, but he does have the wrist rocket.
Yep, and he's also got knee rockets, which is the weirdest thing. But
that's true. I guess Din doesn't have the knee rockets.
I didn't need.
Hey, don't hate on the knee rockets. I've told y'all before about like that He-Man character that blew my mind as a kid. All right, like it was Rio Blast. Yeah, dude, sounds like a fucking drink at Taco Bell, but still, like it's like you can't go wrong with more guns.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah, and his Boba Fett's like wrist rocket just disintegrates people in the first episode.
Yeah. And I think his E33 is also supposed to be able to disintegrate people. I think it's notable that when Vader's saying no disintegrations, he's looking right at Boba Fett.
Yeah.
Which, speaking of which, I think one of the best things about Boba Fett in the original movies is, he gives Vader lip, and Vader's just like, fuck it. He didn't give him a free neck massage or any dad jokes. He just fucking moved on with his day, which is pretty rare for Vader.
Vader's like, everybody gets one. Sorry.
Yeah.
No, but
I guess that's true.
I don't want to move. No, I don't want to move away from the knee rockets just yet because I want you to think about the practicality of this. Now, if you are in a standoff with somebody who's like drawing down on you, where are you not gonna look? Where are you not expecting a gun to pop out from? That's right, the fucking knees. All right, knee guns underrated.
That's kind of like Boba's whole thing too. The fire spray, the Slave One, it's got a bunch of weapons on it, but they're all kind of hidden. They're not where you would expect them to be. So it looks like it's a lightly armored ship, like stock version of that ship. But turns out it's got fucking weapons bristling out of every corner and seismic charges, which are the coolest sound effect in all of Star Wars, in my opinion.
Are we allowing
space
ships?
Bomb. I am assuming no. I'm assuming no friends, no ships. But
can Boba Fett call his ship? Like, I can't remember. Does he have like a thing that he can be like bloop, bloop, and like control it remotely?
I'm gonna guess no, because of events from Book of Boba. I don't think so.
Well, he didn't have his armor at that point.
Well, that's true.
But
that's true.
I don't think so. I don't remember that ever being a thing in Legends, and definitely not in canon. Pretty sure.
That kind of automation used to be pretty rare in Star Wars. It used to be pretty mechanical, like not a whole lot of that through the air shit, because they wouldn't think of that in the 70s.
Yeah, outside of droids, without a droid, we don't really see a lot of automated like starship stuff outside of like just autopilot. Because they tend to have to, because everybody, if you don't have a droid, you have to like input hyperspace coordinates and stuff yourself. Like it's not just an automated program, which you think would be a thing in the future. But
to sidetrack for a second, I love the vague implication that there was some kind of AI problem in the past, and to fix that, they've made it so everything has a hard input, and you can't do anything through the air.
Explanation for 70s sci-fi tech.
Yeah,
sure.
Exactly.
Okay. What was I talking about before? Right. Boba Fett being able to kind of stand up to Vader, because there are like two moments. I think there's two moments in Empire where he's just like, Vader, what the fuck, man? Like, this isn't what I wanted to do. And in contrasting that next to Lando, who's trying to do the same thing, and Lando keeps getting shut down, Boba Fett isn't. Maybe that's why people actually liked him. Like, in addition to him looking badass, because you're right, he is the only one who kind of like sort of stands up to Vader and doesn't get reprimanded in any way. Because that does sort of imply something. It's interesting.
Yeah.
But
we also
doesn't mean he could fight Mandalorian and kill him.
There's no way in fucking hell that Boba Fett even like holds a candle to Darth Vader.
Oh yeah, of course not.
I mean, how sure are you about that, Sam? Brian, you got that lightsaber image? Because, I mean...
we bringing up this?
Oh, he's got...
That kind of looks like a candle.
Oh, shit!
That kind of looks like a candle. And everyone's going to bring up Darksaber, but Boba Fett's got lightsabers in his collection, so,
and look, he like instantly loses his sword, though.
Hold on,
look, I'm not saying he's going to... Go ahead, Jed.
I can't decide if he lost his sword or if he just threw it and did a sick flip, and then he caught it again.
No, that's a whip.
Yeah, but no, look at the bottom.
Yeah, he's got it again.
He still has it. Look, he squares off. They're like, oh shit, he's using a lightsaber. Then the lightsaber's like doing a flip, and then he's just like, oh, I still got it.
I think in full context, that's leading up to a bigger panel where Vader's disarming it. Because like, well, go ahead, Billy. If you got
let's be honest. Darth Vader's going to win that fight if it's to the death and it's to the finish. But it's not going to be. Jango Fett knows when to fucking call it quits, or at least his luck saves him from the end that could be met there. Thing is, like, Jango Fett, I believe, hand-to-hand killed a number of Jedis, and Boba Fett is a clone of Jango Fett. And Boba Fett, of dubious canonicity, has fought Jedi and killed them plenty of times. He's definitely done so on screen, to some degree, I believe.
Yeah, but I don't know. Some Jedis, you can kill a Jedi. They're not all equal.
Right.
Like,
Anakin's the fucking chosen one. Of course he's not going to win in a one-on-one duel, but he still didn't die instantly, which is what most people do when they fight Darth Vader.
Yeah, so Boba Fett has fought, I believe Boba Fett in Legends fought Darth Vader twice with lightsabers. And in both cases, the idea was just, I'm gonna use this to get the fuck away.
someone
like
in
he was
chat
never
said,
intending to beat him.
Yeah, someone in chat said perfect moment for knee rockets, and I 100% agree with you.
See? Yeah, you're holding you're in the lightsaber lock, and then once again, the knee rockets pop out. Like, that's where he messed up. He should have used them.
This is interesting because Din obviously also has the dark saber, which is a lightsaber.
Yeah.
And both of them do not have Jedi training, right? So both of them do not wield the lightsaber as if it is a Jedi weapon. And the way lightsabers work is if you are not connected to it through the Force, it is a heavy object that is difficult to wield. Which does come across whenever Boba Fett uses the lightsaber against Vader. He's never really trying to duel him. He's just like trying to whack at him until he can get away. Din obviously is probably going to have a similar experience with the darksaber. So they're probably not going to be able to actually like do much with the sabers outside of just smack them against each other, because the lightsabers, as described in Rebels, automatically sort of like attract to each other.
Yep.
Which is why in the movies they have those like clashes where they have to like yank them away. It's really interesting how lightsaber stuff works, or how they've like described that, I think. So there's a counter to each saber if we take Legends into account. I don't believe in canon there's any sort of proof that he has lightsabers, but there's also not much to work with in canon for Boba Fett anyway, so whatever.
Obviously, if I killed a Jedi,
to my collection.
Yeah, if I killed a Jedi, I'd take his fucking lightsaber. I mean, that's obviously going to take.
Boba Fett takes trophies. We know that.
So
I don't know of a person that would not take a lightsaber after killing a Jedi. Like, come on, there's something about a laser sword. We've all wanted it.
Well, and also like Boba Fett has a couple knives on him, I think. Like, there's just part of his armor is like knife handle. He has like one on his shin, I think. Like,
yeah, he's got a foot one.
If you're gonna carry a knife for a utilitarian purpose, you can carry a fucking lightsaber too, because this is just like gonna cut open a door. It's like a fucking skeleton. Like, a lightsaber will make you into anything.
Yes, and both these guys are carrying about a dozen or 24 weapons, so there's more than enough room for another one. But okay, I want to back up to the ship conversation because we didn't really lock that one down. Slave One is obviously going to trump the Razor Crest, which is just an old kind of decrepit ship that's not really meant for combat per se. However, if we are including the Razor Crest, Din is a very skilled pilot and is able to outmaneuver TIE fighters with it. And TIE fighters are specifically designed to just be the most maneuverable shit out there. They literally just didn't give them shields because they were like, you're going to be like these. The whole plan behind TIE fighters is they're just bees. They're a swarm of wasps that just overwhelm everybody, their opponent, through sheer numbers and speed. So the fact that he's able to outmaneuver and shoot down TIE fighters on the regular means he's a very skilled pilot, whereas Boba Fett, I'm sure he's a skilled pilot, but let's be honest, the Slave One really relies on just raw firepower. He's not really trying to like outmaneuver people. He just like tricks them into thinking like, you don't think I've got this weapon, surprise. So I have a feeling the Razor Crest would be able to outmaneuver the Slave One. Of course, Razor Crest no longer exists, so
rest in
there
peace.
is.
Do you think the TIE Fighters engines naturally sounded like that, or somebody was like, yeah, but make it scream? Like every like...
What the real thing is, I want to see the cost analysis sheet where they decided, you know what, the training of the pilots is not as worthwhile as saving on not putting a shield on this thing. So
It is interesting, right? Like, why would you ever get in one of those things?
Seems like TIE fighters with shields might actually be better.
I mean,
They're like, well, Darth Vader, he's getting in one. It's like, yeah, bitch, he has the Force. What do we have? Like,
Well, his actually has shields. Like, his
Oh,
is
his
really
does
good.
have shields.
The interceptors and stuff do, the fancier ones do, but it's just like the fodder ones. But also, I don't know why you're shit talking the scream sound they make. I think that's probably some of the best sound design of
the iconic.
I wasn't
like,
shit talking it. I wasn't.
great.
It's great. I was asking if you think they like if that's the way they naturally sounded, or if somebody needed them to sound like
I mean,
they're
one
screaming.
presumes that they all have like a signature thing in the ships. I don't know. It's fucking sci-fi. So.
Well, it's
Because the X-wings don't make a damn sound, right?
They
Like,
had
I don't.
They had I can't remember the name of the guy, but the sound designer for the original trilogy, like he just did he used a lot of real world random sounds and shit to like. Our Jabba's laughing is like part human laugh, part rhinos like making a weird gurgle noise, and like hyenas, and like he just like mashed shit together just to like make Jabba the Hutt dying is a bowl of macaroni and cheese. Like he was just like, what sounds we got laying around the office? Let's put them in the fucking movie, and he did a killer job.
Ben Burt.
Yeah,
Ben's out there. Yeah, it's fantastic sound designer.
We should get
Foley
Chris
artist.
on to talk about sound design sometime.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Star Wars is got some good sound, man.
It definitely does. Like I said, the seismic charge from the Slave One is one of my favorite fucking sounds of all time in all the movies. Boom! It's fucking awesome.
Yeah. Not gonna do much against Razor Crest that can outmaneuver that stuff.
I have a feeling.
But either way, I don't think the ship should really be. We're talking about Fett versus Mando, right?
Right. In a death battle, it starts in space. It's like a 10-second sequence, and then they're on a planet. Like they do a little bit of fighting.
Both ships are durable enough to take a few hits and crash land anyway, so it would probably end up being a 1v1 fight regardless.
On the ground, also, probably in the sand.
If we are taking this,
it gets everywhere.
Din does have a weapon that can combat Fett's Beskar armor, which is the Beskar spear.
Okay.
It is made of Beskar, therefore it can pierce Beskar. I don't want to get into too many spoilers about that, but if we were giving him the spear, he can get through the Beskar armor. And also, I don't think Fett has any way to combat the whistling birds.
Yeah,
I think he fires off the whistling birds to that peppers Fett.
Oh yeah.
Most of them will probably hit the armor, but some of them won't. And then Mando just finishes them off with the spear if need be, or the saber.
A distraction with all the mini missiles that he just runs up and just punches the spear.
Which are also made of Beskar, by the way. So actually, they might be able to pierce the armor.
That's fucking stupid. Let's talk about that.
It's
like, if you have a titanium wall and then be like, look, I made a titanium spear, and you go run up and jab it, it's not gonna fucking punch right through.
Well, I mean that's how diamonds work, right? Like a diamond can cut a diamond.
God.
I mean, presumably the armor is not that thick because it's a very rare material, so it needs to be used sparingly across. It's just very tough. So I kind of believe that a spear with enough force could probably do it. And given that Boba Fett can crush rocks and shit with his hand, I know he's grabbed Bosk and hurt him. Bosk, a fucking giant lizard man. He's hurt him with a fucking grip. I have a feeling these dudes are pretty strong. So
yeah, okay, I'll give you that.
At least Boba Fett is.
All right, I gotcha.
I don't know. It's like, he shoots the whistling birds, and Boba Fett shoots a bunch of knee rockets as chaff. I think the big difference between the two is I get the impression Boba Fett, maybe not now, but Boba Fett was definitely faster. His armor is kind of customized to let him move more. He's got less of Jango Fett's armor on him. I'm not sure if he still kept those pieces or not, but he doesn't have a lot of the.
Fett, he doesn't have any armor on his leg, right?
Yeah, he
He's
prioritizes
got the little
movement.
knee pads, and that's it.
Okay. Yeah, what's these?
It's gonna be pretty hard to fight without legs.
But that's the thing. It's just like you just shoot out your little bird boys and just blow this man's fucking legs off.
I think Boba Fett is gonna figure out that maybe get behind something and they don't hit you.
Well, I don't know, because I'm back and forth on the intelligence of Boba Fett. He's very tenacious, like you brought it before. Like if something happens to him, he'll get through it and he'll come back and he'll learn from it. But his on the fly thinking isn't the best. Like, hey Brian, will you roll that clip?
But you brought a clip? What?
Yeah, I just wanted to. I wanted to show this. So here's the thing.
Okay.
The jetpack happens, and then he just flails around like an idiot. hits the thing, and he's like, he's got a fucking rope in his wrist right now. Maybe I should. Nah, never mind. I'll just get eaten.
Hey, Brian, roll that back and play the Tide clip.
He actually doesn't have the rope anymore. Luke cut it apart.
Oh, did he really?
Yeah. That's the portion a little bit earlier. He jumps in for some reason, close combat on Luke Skywalker. I think he was aiming more for Chewbacca, and this is a genetic thing.
He was trying to use his flamethrower.
Right. Okay. Yeah, he did have. Yeah, he had his arm up. That's a genetic thing because Jango Fett did the same fucking thing to Mace Windu. He jumped in where he shouldn't have been.
I'm just like, this guy is a trained assassin. He's supposed to and he gets in the rocket.
So Luke Skywalker Luke Skywalker cuts his sword, his blaster in half, and then he immediately ties Luke Skywalker up, and would have had him because Luke looked like he was helpless, except someone shoots a fucking giant blaster bolt behind Boba Fett.
The laser cannon.
Like the worst fucking aiming I've ever seen. And that's what destabilizes him into the place where he can get his backpack hit by
a blind
guy with a stick. Moving on.
Yeah. Well, okay. Book of Boba Fett in episode 4, Boba implies that Bib Fortuna, the big fat dude, Jabba's handler,
retainer,
betrayed him in some way.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know how, but maybe the dude who shot the skiff
was intentional to get him.
Was trying to kill Boba Fett? I don't know.
Wait,
I think it's a bit of a stretch.
That sounds like Star Wars pretzel logic, most likely. But if it turns out to be true, then hey, I'd accept it as a benefit.
Yeah,
I haven't seen Book of Boba yet, but assuming that he's trying to be a crime syndicate, man, is he trying to take over the Hut? I know there's tons. Okay.
Yeah, he's trying to.
That was how. Remember, that's how the end of Mandalorian ended. They did that teaser, and he just straight walks into Jabba's palace. Is like, I own you all.
I wish they would do more with the Hut. Hopefully they will, because that's a cool thing.
That's what I wanted from the show.
I think it's what everyone thought you were gonna get.
Yeah. So I remember when they announced a Jabba the Hutt movie years ago, or as the third anthology film was that's gonna be a Jabba the Hutt movie, and everybody was like, what? Jabba the Hutt movie? I was kind of excited for it because I really liked the seedy underbelly of the Star Wars universe, right? I think that's a fun world. And I was like, okay, Jabba's not gonna be the main character, right?
But he'll be there, right?
It's probably gonna be Boba Fett or some other bounty hunters working for him or something like that.
That's what was cool about Dash Rendar. Yeah. You got to explore some of that stuff, you know?
Yeah.
Well, all the Hut,
they're not really doing a lot with that in the Boba Fett show.
Yeah.
The Hut, a couple Hutts show up in one episode and haha, we're here to take over Jabba's territory. Boba Fett, what are you gonna do about it? And then the next episode, they're just nah.
No, we don't want to.
We're gonna fuck off. They just leave.
Meanwhile, Ben's finally, crime war.
There's a couple. There's a Jedi Hut, right? That was in Legends.
He's he's grossly
really
thin.
stupid.
He's super buff, right?
Wait, hold on. I have to look this up.
The buff one's the buff one is, it starts with a G. It's Grack or something like that. The buff one's actually way cooler. Yeah, I think that's it. And I think Leia kills him in a lightsaber duel.
Look at him!
Let me try and find the buff one.
Yeah, here's Leia in a duel with him. Yeah, it's Bel Dorian.
That's some legend shit that I never
That's
dude, hold on,
I think, right? Yeah.
I gotta send this to Brian so he can pull it up because this panel is fucking sick.
There's some weird Hut shit.
Just because there's some really cartoony versions of him, but oh man, this panel look at that shit.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay, but that's it. Beldorian, he goes evil and gets really obese. But the Hutts aren't always obese. I put one in the Discord of Gracchus is the guy's name. He's the Hutt that's really cool. And I think if I remember correctly, he betrays all the Hutts and starts to help. I think Poe Dameron frees him from prison for some reason.
Dude, look at those abs, man.
He's got an 8-pack. He's strong as fuck.
Do you even lift, boy?
Before he goes to prison, he has a necklace of lightsabers that he collects. He's a straight G. He's cool as fuck. They should make a show about that guy. He's buff. Because he's he's the opposite of what you think of when you think of Hut. Like he's like really like agile and swole, and like he does all of his own work and shit, rather than all the other ones just being like kind of like big do nothing slugs.
I believe the canon history for Hutts is they used to be this like really powerful species, and then they took over the Outer Rim basically, and they all got lazy and fat. And that's just their story. Renok did mention in the chat, going back to Boba Fett, that if we are bringing in Legends, Boba Fett, even if he was, you know, betrayed and his armor was hijacked or something like that, he's fallen into the Sarlacc pit multiple times.
Yes, no, that's definitely true. Boba Fett has a magnetic attraction to that thing in the Legends. However, based on things that happen in book, that cannot happen. So I don't think it's happening. It is true, yes. But the thing is, in Legends, Boba Fett's also ridiculously OP. Like, he does shit that doesn't... It's just like, it's always the litany of, well, he's got to be as cool as he looks, right? So it's got to be a balancing act, I think, if you're gonna drag in Legend stuff.
Let's talk about this element about Book of Boba Fett, because I think a big thing for this matchup is like they have very similar equipment, right? They're going to be able to be well matched in that regard. So I think it really comes down to who's going to be more clever in the fight, who's going to be able to take advantage of the other's weaknesses, who's smarter. I think Boba Fett in Book of Boba Fett is shown to be kind of an idiot. So the opening, or the first episode, shows how he escapes the Sarlacc pit, right? He gets out of the Sarlacc pit he finds a stormtrooper down there. I guess it's been there for a while and uses its oxygen to like survive, which is a little smart, right? Like, I think it's kind of like, if that is an established thing, kind of an obvious thing to do, but okay, clever moment. Sure, I'll give it to him. He busts out of the Sarlacc with a flamethrower, and he's crawling out of the sand, and then he passes out. Or actually, rather, some Jawas show up and beat the shit out of him.
To be fair, he's basically dead at that point, so I don't...
Sure, he's been dissolved and who
didn't
knows how
face
long.
the same thing with Jawas. Like, they beat the shit out of him when he was trying to attack them, and, well, their carrier. So,
well, they
Jawas
kind of had a
on
huge advantage with a giant sand crawler.
So I'd say, you know...
and he didn't have a jetpack at the time.
That's true.
Which Boba Fett... I guess Boba Fett's jetpack was damaged, so he couldn't just fly out.
Yeah.
But either way, Boba Fett gets out, gets the shit beat out of him by some Jawas to steal his armor, right? That's not entirely spoiler even for Book of Boba Fett. We know the Jawas stole his armor in some way. Cut to a couple episodes later, we flash back to when Boba's like, all right, it's time for me to get my armor. He goes back to the Sarlacc. Why the fuck does he think it's at the Sarlacc?
I mean,
he knows he was wearing the armor when he got out.
Right. I you know, he's barely alive at that point. Like I said, I don't think he's thinking too clearly, so he probably thinks that's the only place I can think of where it would be. I'm assuming he doesn't remember the Jawas beating the shit out of you, because I would probably try to forget that too.
Is he assuming that the Tuskens who found him took off the armor, just threw it in the Sarlacc for some reason?
I don't know.
Okay,
It's a weird...
See, that's actually more believable, because the Tuskens will probably, there's like, you could see them being like, give it back to like the Sarlacc as like an offering or whatever. But the Jawas is the one that doesn't make any sense. They don't, because like they're really not known for wasting a goddamn thing. Like, they'll turn trash into gold. So like, there's no chance in hell that he's like, if I just got beaten up by a bunch of Jawas, you know, they stole his shit. That's what they do. They didn't throw it back into the pit. Like,
I don't understand why he goes back to the Sarlacc. I think it makes him out to be an idiot. And then when he's at the Sarlacc, he's like, how am I gonna get the armor out? I'm gonna just fly my ship into the Sarlacc, even though my ship is 5 times bigger than
Well, it's not that he's flying into it, he's trying to look into it using... He's getting way too close, but
he knows the thing has tentacles.
Like, there's a lot of shit about
those
Sarlacc,
only got added
though.
later, Ben. Sorry.
No, they didn't. A tentacle grabbed Lando, remember?
Yeah.
Those have been canon the whole time.
That's true. It's the weird beak mouth.
Do they talk about at all? Like, I know in like the old Star Wars world, like Sarlacc had like a telepathic link with the people that it ate, and it like tortured them and ate on their fear for ages before fully digesting them, right? Like, did they mention that?
No.
Because I could see a
totally
world where
forgot
like
about that.
it's trying to mentally trick him to coming back, and that's why he's doing dumb shit, right? Because it's still Because in the books, I think that's why he goes and he sets it on fire every year to keep it dead so that it doesn't like bother him, right? So like if they were gonna go with that, that makes sense why he keeps going back to the Sarlacc because it's got a mental link with him. But if they're not even gonna mention that, that's just fucking stupid. He's an idiot.
Redhawk24 in the chat, good point. Why did he just kill it first, then go inside?
He doesn't even like do anything to it.
Like just drop a thermal detonator.
This is spoilers, but like everybody was kind of expecting. I think everybody expected at some point in the Book of Boba Fett for Boba to go back and kill the Sarlacc in some way, right? Like because that happens in canon or in Legends, so it's like it's gonna happen at some point. Boba doesn't even do it. It's Fennec who kills the Sarlacc. Like,
but she touched his button.
Yeah, and they have like some lame. The dialogue in the show is a little odd sometimes.
It's a little weird, yeah. The thing that's got
she kills it with one of the sonic charges, which is cool, but like Fennec does everything for Boba Fett. Yeah. Boba can't do jack shit in the show.
The thing that's I think they're coming up against it is their own choice from a writing perspective is they're trying to make him like he's trying to not be as violent immediately as he used to be in the past. But it's making him super passive in book, which is an unfortunate thing for the stories they're trying to tell, where he kind of needs to fucking kill the Sarlacc. Yes,
I mean they're saying he's not. They're trying to make him less violent, but there's also a scene where he just mercilessly guns down a bunch of people on speeder bikes. I don't know. There's a lot to like about Book of Boba Fett. I think Boba Fett himself should not be the protagonist of the show. Even with the name of that, I think the protagonist should be all the beyond
stuff that's going around him. Yeah.
Almost Godfather style, right? Where it's more of an ensemble than just Boba Fett and what he does, because I think it's way too slow just focusing on him. And also he just doesn't do a lot.
Scoopy Five says that's called delegating.
That's the ultimate technique right there.
But in a fight, in a death battle, there's nobody for him to delegate shit to.
That's true.
So it's up to him, and he's not gonna have his back to tank just sitting there, even if he jumps into that thing to heal up. Like easy kill for Din.
I'm a little lost on the back to tank thing too, because like was he suffering from acid burns for years? I'm guessing. So he was just going around at half capacity for the entire time he was with the Tuskens. And
I guess there's a moment in I think it's episode 4 where the droid is like, "Congratulations, Fett, your wounds are finally fully healed." It's been like 5 years since the Sarlacc, so I guess he's just been horribly injured this whole time.
Which would explain why he's a little sluggish up to that point, maybe, if they make him out to be faster going forward, I guess. That's the thing about the show, is there's a lot of interesting stuff going on, but there's some weird-ass pacing and plot points that...
So it's Star Wars.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Renok, you are... I do agree. Chrysantin. Sorry, I keep saying his name wrong. Chrysantin would be pretty dope. So Chrysantin is a character from the comics who's like a feral Wookiee. Who becomes a bounty hunter, and he's in the show.
Oh, hell yeah!
And it's pretty awesome. Like he's maybe one of the best parts of the
really
show.
Dark-haired one, right?
Yeah.
Like the scar.
He's given Obi-Wan Kenobi trouble in the comics, I believe. Yeah, they fought one-on-one for a while. So
yeah, he's in the. I'm not all caught up with like the Afro comics or anything like that, but he's been a main character for that. Like Wookiees have this thing. I think this is a thing where like they're not allowed to fight with their claws.
Shameful, yeah.
Yeah, it's shameful to like attack and kill things with their claws. And he did it, so he was banished from Kashyyyk.
So then he just leaned into it?
Yeah, I guess the idea is like, if they attack with their claws, it like implies that they are going feral, or they're not like a good Wookiee or something like that. I don't know.
It'd be like in a fight and you start biting a dude. It's like no one's gonna look kindly on you for it, right? You're not really...
Oh, that's awesome.
I guess Wookiees have like to restrain themselves from going full bear mode.
Yeah, which is dumb. Like there's a lot of like weird stupid race things with Star Wars too. Like where like there's no reason that the Wookiees should be hypersensitive about how if the other races view them as being like animalistic. Like you have claws, bro. Smack a man. Like I know, right? What's wrong with you?
I think it's supposed to be like a spiritual thing. Renok mentions Renok's got a lot to say today. How the Tuskens have been really fleshed out in Book of Boba, which is probably the best thing that they've done.
Yeah, I wish they'd spent more time on that stuff. Honestly, I was really enjoying that.
The films did not present them in a very good light.
Hey, then there was Star Wars Masters of Terrakasi, and we got Whore. The Tusken Raider.
I think his actual name is if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he does that, but yeah.
Yeah.
It was just so funny every time because it'd be like, Mara Jade versus
Whore.
And wasn't the Gamorrean or whatever called Thuck?
Oh, I think so.
Right.
I think it was.
Yeah,
It's really weird name choices, guys.
the Gamorreans, those are just the orcs, right? Those are orcs.
Yeah.
Those are. That's, okay, I'm thinking of the right
They're
ones.
just pig
A couple
people.
of pig boys, yeah.
Yeah.
Which are in. They have a little arc in Book of Boba Fett. That's fun.
Yeah.
I love that he's just collecting friends from the expanded universe toy line. It's great.
Yeah. Okay, but I still don't know how Boba Fett is gonna deal with the whispering birds.
I feel
and
like
the spear.
Boba Fett has a lot more experience than Din, and while in book he's a little bit sluggish, I think in general in the past he is quite quick on his feet in terms of dealing with problems like that. He's very quick, and I completely lost my thread on this. I'm sorry. I actually had a thought on this, and then I don't remember it now.
You heard it here first, folks.
Whore.
Mandalorian wins.
Yeah,
Thanks to his training with Whore, the Tusken Raider. No, wait, that's. Oh, Mando has a relationship with the Tuskens.
Yeah,
which they've never actually explained, as far as I'm aware.
I think it's very interesting. The Tuskens are what kind of imparted this like more peaceful approach on him. It's a thing I would have appreciated
On
learning
Bubba?
more about. Yeah,
Of all people, it's the Tuskens who teach him how to like work
teach
as a
him how
tribe.
to love.
Even though he's introduced to them by being their like water digging slave.
As you do.
And then he's just like, yeah, they're my friends now.
Another
No,
point
it's Stockholm syndrome.
Yeah, exactly. You know, one
Maybe.
other point for Boba Ben is that he was the only good thing to come out of the holiday special, unless you really enjoy elderly Wookiees watching porn in the living room. So I think he's got that going for him.
Oh my god.
Dude, did you see that remastered trailer that dude did?
Mm-mm.
Oh yeah, the HD one.
Yeah,
it's
that
really
was
funny. Has anybody here
crazy.
actually watched the holiday special?
Yes.
in
I've
full?
watched
Yes, I
like
have.
clips of it. I've never watched it.
I've never watched the whole thing.
It's
I've
not worth
tried.
your time. No,
I cannot.
No.
Because for a while back in the day, there was a part of me that was like, well, I can't call myself a Star Wars fan unless I've seen this thing. And then I would try, and I would get like partway through, and I'd just be like, God, the fucking Wookiees. I can't, and I would turn it off, and I'd like feel bad about it. It took a long time for me to just say like, nah, bro, this is not healthy.
There's no
for me to,
translation.
like,
It's like 30 minutes of grunting with no understanding of what's going on.
it's so bad.
Have you read
even
about
even if they had subtitles, it would be
Yeah.
so difficult to watch.
Have you read about
All
the
right,
behind the
Ben.
scenes on that? Everyone was coked out of their fucking mind. Like no.
Oh
one-
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But Ben, if you had to pick between watching the Wookiees talk or the sloths from that Sonic episode, which is worse?
Oh gosh. I mean, the Wookiees go on for much longer. The holiday special is like an hour and a half, and the sloth episode
Yeah.
is 20 minutes. So I would pick the sloths. Even with the like Boba Fett, I don't know. Everybody's like talks about that animated short as being like really really fun or whatever.
Mm.
I don't think it's all that great. And then Lord Terminal mentioned like B. Arthur's segment where she's got like a musical number
Yeah,
in the
in
like
the bar.
cantina. That was kind of fun, but it's also just like nonsense.
Yeah.
What did they call Christmas in the holiday special? What
Life
did they call
Day.
it?
Life,
Life Day. That's right. Yep.
Can we talk about how in the special, like it's full, like we don't have any questions here. This is just dog shit. But I will say the animation style for the little scene where like they have an animated bit of it. Why don't I just actually show you?
The
Let
one
me
that
make
Boba
sure
Fett's in.
Yep. That's where he was
that
introduced.
there's
Riding a-
literally nothing bad on my
Mythosaur. I think.
screen.
No,
right?
it's a Mythosaur is
Yeah,
the
cool.
thing on his shoulder. The thing there, I think it's called a panda
Oh.
dragon.
This
Like that?
animation style is actually pretty dang sick.
Except, I actually love the look of this. Except for Han
Yeah.
Solo, they did him dirty. Like Harrison
Oh
Ford
yeah, Han looks
looks like a
awful.
gremlin.
I don't know. There's something about this where I'm like, I like this iconic, like weird sci-fi anim style.
The space stuff is fine. C-3PO looked like
Anyway.
he's tripping balls.
Yeah, well, I don't know. It's weird. It's like I don't know. That's a unique animation style. Like I think just as like being a person that works in animation, every time I see was like that's new. I don't know if I
Absolutely.
like that. It's cool.
I agree. I think the animation style is a lot of fun, and it's also important to remember this was released before even Empire came out. So I think a lot of people watching it now might be like, "This is so weird and different. Like they don't even look right." But there was not the only thing they had to reference back then was the 77 film.
Shit, yeah.
So and Splinters of the Mind's Eye, maybe
the meteor ring around this planet is like way down low below its ass. Like that doesn't make any goddamn sense. But you know, whatever.
That,
I don't need to. I don't.
That
need to
seems like some Lucas shit. No, but for this planet,
kind of does.
It's on the bottom.
For this planet, it's on the bottom. Right.
There's another planet over there that's kind of pulling it. I don't know.
Like if it had pants.
Yeah, like that's like him telling Carrie Fisher there's no underwear in space or whatever. Like the weird ass shit that guy thought of.
And this planet has pants.
And this planet has pants.
That's a Lucas thing for sure.
Yeah. Well. All right, we gotta hit all the other things. We gotta get to a verdict. So
we're almost done. Yeah, we only got 10 minutes.
This
left,
has been a fun half matchup discussion, half like let's just talk about the weird shit that happens in Star Wars.
Mon Calamaris. They named them after.
I mean, the problem is that Mandalorian coming before Boba Fett, a lot of the great things about Boba Fett were in Din's character. Like, so they are extremely similar as a result. Now they're trying to differentiate the two. Now they're both, existing on screen and stuff. But a lot of things that are awesome about Boba Fett are in Din.
Yeah, it does sort of feel like Din might be kind of taking over a similar story that Fett had in Legends. Eventually, maybe becoming Mandalore. We don't know what they're gonna do with that, with the Darksaber and all. But yeah, there's definitely a lot of similarities in that regard. But let's wrap up our arguments. So Billy, is there anything more? Because I know there's still obviously a lot of Legend stuff from Boba Fett that could be brought into this. Is there anything else you wanted to bring up for Fett?
Not anything specific. Like I said, he has been active as a mercenary since he was a young boy, so he was active in doing this stuff long before Din. So I think he's got way more experience, and he's got way more connections. Not that that's going to affect a death battle, but he's done this shit for a lot longer, so...
How much older is he?
He would be 10 years older, I believe. Because he was 10, maybe 12 during Attack of the Clones when the Clone Wars starts.
Right.
He might actually be like 15 years old.
Then he's running around trying to kill Mace Windu during the Clone Wars. So.
Yeah, so I kind of wanted to bring that up. So he shows up in the Clone Wars a couple times, and every time Boba shows up in the Clone Wars, he fails miserably.
I mean, he
tries to kill Mace twice, fails both times. Usually because of some either just some dumb coincidence that he just did not prepare for, or he underestimated, R2-D2 or whatever. And then he shows up later when Ventress is doing her reformative arc, right? And Ventress joins his bounty hunting team. And this is like the first time we actually see Boba Fett using his father's blasters, I believe. And he's not wearing the Mandalorian armor just yet because he's too small for it. But he's actually being kind of a badass, fighting off people with his bounty hunting team, including Bosk. But then he gets fucking humiliated at the end when Ventress is like, I can rescue this person and get money for it. And she ties up Boba, shoves him in a box, and just ships him away. Like, the dude gets humiliated way more often than he actually succeeds in like proper like official canon material.
Yeah.
Every time he's been on the screen up until Book of Boba Fett, the dude just gets humiliated.
Yep.
Over and over.
It's a learning experience, man. It just happens. It's just...
I did just
even up to Return of the Jedi, he's still learning how to not get humiliated.
I mean, he got through Empire looking pretty good, and then George Lucas got him back, and
I mean, all he did in Empire was be like, Han might actually have a trick and hide amongst a bunch of junk.
He's the only dude.
That's all he did. That's all he did. He just predicted that Han would hide in junk.
I just remembered that Din fought Ahsoka for a little while.
Yes,
and that's got to count for something.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I know
we got
it's
6
pretty
minutes. We
quick
gotta
and
get
she
to the
doesn't go
Twitter
hard,
stuff. We
but-
gotta go.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah,
All right.
yeah,
All right.
yeah.
So let's go ahead and start wrapping up the vote. If you have not voted yet, you can vote in the chat. If you're watching this on mobile, Din Djarin, the Mando, is you can type #1 to vote for him or #2 to vote for Boba Fett. Obviously, you're going to do #1, right? You're going to vote for Mando. All right. So let's go ahead and get to the Twitter answers.
Or there it is. Crisis Among Infinite Darths. The best Mandalorians, besides Sabine Wren, both have Beskar armor and similar OP weapons. However, Din was raised to be an honorable soldier, while Boba was taught to think dirty. He learned from the best bounty hunters like Bosk and Aurra Sing, and has killed Jedi. Boba wins.
Is Mando an honorable fighter? I guess more so than Boba.
I can
Yeah,
at least
definitely
traditional
more
Boba, yeah,
so
for
than
sure.
Boba Fett, yeah.
Boba's gonna kick
yeah.
sand in your face. He's not. He's gonna try to win, at least in the past.
I don't know. I would still say
Nowadays-
Mando would probably do the same thing. Like he's
I
there's not
think-
like
I
an
feel like-
honor code in combat for Mandalore. I
I
guess
feel
it
like
kind
nowadays
of
they're on a
is.
kind of similar path again. It's a weird choice.
There's an honor code when they like challenge each other to duels, but I don't know about for the
But not
bounty
in like
hunting.
general combat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mandalorian versus Mandalorian, they do have an honor code,
Which is what this
actually
is.
might be. Well, Boba Fett's not a Mandalorian.
Yeah,
Okay.
he just
Well,
has the armor.
they said that, but the people who said that were salty about the fact that the clones and Boba Fett have, got shit going for them.
No, Boba Fett is not a Mandalorian. Even like he's an inheritor
Right.
of the armor because Jango was a foundling. Anyway, all right. We got to get to the next Twitter answer though.
Blue Bowser Stan account says, it's been said a million times, but Boba was pushed to the Sarlacc by a blind guy. In comparison, Din defeated a Krayt Dragon, which is much larger than a Sarlacc. You might say, that doesn't count, he has help. That help had Boba's armor. If Boba can't beat the Sarlacc with Krayt dragon level armor, then there's no way he's winning this one. No need to Fett. This is the way to a Din victory.
Multiple puns there. I love it. Yeah. Oh, I didn't even bring up the Krayt Dragon. Holy shit! What was I doing? Yes.
Yeah. The Great Dragon's a pretty good argument. I think.
mean, he had a little more help than just.
yeah, there's like a
also
whole
fun in
village.
Boba Fett.
If you're gonna
There's a
say that-
whole army of.
If you're gonna say
Tuskens
Boba Fett's
fighting
armor
him.
there helps tremendously, well, Boba Fett's got the fucking armor, so
Yeah, I think the idea was like with his armor he could kill a Krayt Dragon from inside it, whereas Boba Fett with his armor couldn't kill the Sarlacc.
Yeah.
But
But
then
he got the-
again,
he
I
got
don't
out,
actually know if a Krayt
so-
Dragon's larger than a Sarlacc because they kind of mention in that
Mhm.
episode that the Krayt Dragon is living inside a dead Sarlacc or something like that. I don't know how big a Sarlacc's supposed to be.
I think, yeah, and I think a Sarlacc is kind of like we only see tip of the iceberg kind of thing.
Mhm.
I think they're supposed to have like a huge underground bit of it, but
Yeah, I don't know.
because they
Either
show
way,
up to planets on meteors, I think is how they work. But who knows?
you know
how
way
that
more
fucking
about the
happened.
Sarlacc than I do. That's crazy.
Well,
Well,
we did
Sam
a desk
researched
gov
it
on
before with the
Boba
desk
Fett.
gov.
Yeah, I think we
Oh,
did
that's
2
right,
desk
that's
on
right.
Boba Fett, but Sarlaccs, yeah, show up on meteors. Doesn't make any goddamn sense.
they're spacefaring, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
Meteor tentacle monsters. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So let's go ahead and get to the vote. Go ahead. We're going to lock in the votes in the chat as these guys are going to be doing the vote. But first, we will bring up the Twitter votes.
Or
Here it
will
comes.
we?
Who is it going?
Crawling out
to
from the
be?
depths of the Sarlacc pit
It's
that is
just-
Twitter.
it's one of those really slow Star Wars roll-ups. Just to, don't worry, it's coming one of these days.
Or here's
I
where
don't
Brian's like,
see it.
Sam didn't get it to me. So-
Do we have?
No,
do we have
there it is.
live these
Okay.
days.
All right.
All right.
Boba Fett does edge this one out 55 to
Ooh.
45 essentially percent. So 55% to 45%, about a 10% lead for Boba Fett. That's one vote for Fett. But we got 3 more votes. Come on, guys. You know who actually should
Mine
win this,
is mine is gonna be Din just solely based on the fact that he has pants, like armor pants. I really do
right? Armor
think that
pants.
is like the thing about the Mandalorians is that their armor is like kind of the whole fucking thing, right? Like,
Mhm.
sure, they're good, they're well trained, blah 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 blah. Their armor is the fucking important bit. Without their armor, Din would have died in the first episode, right? Like, so, and Din's got more armor. Good. There we go. I'm
I
done
think
there.
that makes sense. One vote for Fett, one vote for Din. Chad.
One vote for
you're up.
pants.
I think
Yeah,
that
one
Boba
for
Fett I think their weaponry is very comparable. I think that Boba Fett is very tenacious and maybe a little bit more ruthless, but I do think that Din is more intelligent and it could figure this out. So I'm gonna go with Mando.
That's 2 for Mando. Okay, this could be a tie though, and we do have a tiebreaker if this happens. Let's go ahead and bring up the chat's vote. What you guys have been voting on this entire time. Come on, guys. Boba Fett wins.
Shit.
Oh no, it's even higher now. What?
It's even higher.
57% to 43%. I lost votes.
Well, that's the classic tie. I think it's up to Brian. Or
Brian, it's up
voice
to
in the
you.
sky.
Who's gonna win this, Mando or Fett?
Oh, it's coming up to me, huh? Let's
It's
see.
up to you, Brian.
What do I
For
want?
Wonderful TD.
Oh yeah, he's
Yeah,
got
Brian
camera.
can.
Hell yeah.
Oh man, yeah, I kind of agree with the idea that just I think Din's just smarter. We'll go with Din.
Oh, there it is.
Yes!
Book of Boba, you betrayed me.
Yeah.
Mandalorian, from all accounts I've heard, better show.
Thus far, you are absolutely right. I mean,
So, you know,
how can you say no
absolutely.
to this face? He's
Yeah.
a beautiful boy.
Oh, we love him. Hey, I got
no.
one of those back up there.
It's okay though. Boba Fett does have his Grogu. It's the Bantha.
Is it? Do we
But you
care
said pack
about
it.
a weird
That's funny.
space horse? Like,
I know we're gonna have to wrap
really
up
likes
because
his
Achievement
band,
Hunter's up next live, but also I did want to remind everybody that you can go purchase your RTX tickets right now. We're hoping everything's gonna be much better. I would love to see people in person. I desperately miss conventions. I want to do a panel, have some panels. I want to meet you guys and say hi. So head over to what is it, rtxevent.com, or did we change that? Is it just RTX? I'm sorry, I wasn't. Yeah, sure. It's there. You'll just Google RTX, you'll find it. And here's the thing: if you're a little hesitant, you're like, I don't know where like the state of things are going to be with like variants and whatnot. The good news is like we already have plans in place for like refund options as well as postponement. So if you really want to push it to another year, so now's the time when you can pick up a badge at a discounted rate, which will only be there until February 14th. So go ahead. If you're thinking about going to RTX, pick it up now. And like I said, we have some like safety options there. So if you're not feeling comfortable at the time, no worries. You can either get a refund or push it to next year. So we hope to see you guys at RTX, and you should pick up your badges.
Awesome. Yes, we definitely hope to see you guys there. It's been a little while, so it's gonna be good to be.
Dude, we were to
back
do
at RTX.
MacFest. I was so excited. I was like, oh my god, I can't. It's been so long since we did a panel. So like RTX is, we're definitely doing that.
Before we go, Ronan did mention in the chat, Boba's Grogu is his Rancor.
Yep.
He does have a pet Rancor now.
oh, that's sick.
That might be. We don't know much.
Why
about
didn't you
this yet.
bring that up?
It's
Well, because he
it's too
hasn't
new.
done anything with
Yeah.
it yet.
All right.
Yeah, it's too new.
But maybe by the time Book of Boba Fett is over, we gotta see the Rancor in action at some point, right?
Is it a little baby rank? I'll just go watch the show. Don't
It's
worry.
like and it's like a baby
It's
ish.
sort of. It's small.
adolescent.
The one Luke killed.
Yeah.
But it's
All
also.
right, we got to roll.
fucking
Achievement Hunter's
Rancor.
waiting.
Yeah.
Thank you, wait, right? No. Thank you all so much for watching. As always, be kind to yourself, be kind to others, be awesome, and we will see you next week. Take care.
Bye,
Bye.
everybody.